Johnson, the planning consultant for the city of Youngstown. And I'm calling to order a virtual meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals and City Planning Commission held on Tuesday, June 15th, 2021 at 1:30 via Zoom to consider two cases. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted later to YouTube video. All those who wish to speak on the two matters before the board will need to be sworn in, and I will do the swearing in. The first case today is case 2117 at 182 East Midlothian in Ward 6. The applicant, William Garrett of Garrett Builders, requests a variance to reduce the side yard setbacks from 7 feet to 20 feet and the rear yard setback from 10 feet to 30 feet. The applicant requests to construct a 60 by 62 foot addition to the rear of an existing residential facility. The property in question is located in an MU1, a mixed-use institutional zoning district. And I believe the rear yard setback is going from 30 feet to 10 feet. So is Mr. Garrett here?
I am.
Mr. Garrett, we can't see you. Can you get a visual on? Can we get a visual? Is that possible?
I'm not sure what to do.
Okay.
Let's.
Well, I'm assuming you're going to raise your right hand and swear that you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So for God. Is that correct?
I got a box on here that says start my video. So let me try that.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, I see your forehead. If you want to lower your, there we go. Okay.
How's that?
No, take it the other way.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, I see me up there. Okay.
There you go.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you.
Mr. Garrett and anyone else who wishes to speak on this case, would you raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. Mr. Garrett, can you tell us what you intend to do on the property? And are asking as a variance to do.
Okay. On the.
We have a share screen up showing the property in question. Yep.
I thought I had something there.
No, this is our staff has done this.
Okay. On the east property line of the entire development, we have the side of an existing building there that is 7 foot off of the east property line. So the side yard setback zoning requirement of 20 feet, we were asking if we could just continue that side wall that already exists to the north for the addition, since the existing building already has a 7 foot setback. Now, where we're going to build the addition, the only thing next to it would be the garage for the house that's next door and the rear open yard on the east side, where the existing building that's there that we're going to build the addition from is right even with the house, so we're hoping that we can just continue that existing building line straight back to the north.
We have a plan here showing that.
Yes. Let me see here.
Can you scroll down a little bit? There we go.
I'm relatively new with this Zoom, so I was actually trying to scroll that myself.
That's okay.
Okay. All right. So you can see the 60 by 62 planned. We were actually planning to do this last year, but that didn't happen with the pandemic. But so where it says original building and has cross hatching, if you look on the right side of that there's a 7 foot EX for existing, and then the addition has 7 foot further back toward the top of the sheet of 7 foot. So that line would just continue straight back parallel with the east property line. So that's what we were asking for there. And then, is there any questions on the east, or should I just continue with the rear
Let me ask the board members, are there any questions on the extension of the existing building northward, maintaining the existing setback?
Hunter, may I be heard for a moment just for a point of clarification? It's Jeff.
Yes, Mr. Levian.
Thank you. I understand what we're doing, and I'm not suggesting for a second that I have a problem with it at this juncture. I just want to be clear. The documentation that we received in our notes are going from 7 foot to a larger number, and the same thing with the back setback. Was that just a transposition of numbers, maybe?
Yes.
Gotcha.
In fact, I sent Robin a voicemail this morning early about she had sent out a second update and had corrected the first one because it said from 7 to 20, and she reversed that to 20 to 7. But the second one still said from 10 to 30, which I'm going to get to next. But yeah, so that was just backward.
I just wanted to make sure that the record was clear. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right, so on the north end property line, I'm showing 10 foot from the rear of the addition, proposed addition to the property line. Zoning requirement is, I was told was 30 feet. So we're asking for that reduction, but I have a question concerning that because everyone will probably remember when we got the variance, probably sometime in 19 for the multi-purpose building at the rear of the property, which is also a north property line. So at that time, the paperwork stated that a 10-foot buffer was required, and there was no mention of a 30-foot that I was told now, which is, it's still a north property line. It still abuts residential property, but this time we're being asked to give a 30-foot rear yard. But I don't know if it's the same condition. It seems like it is to me, but it was only called a 10-foot buffer, and we were allowed to reduce to a 0 property line back there with the variance. So I'm just wondering why one is 30 foot and the other one is a 10-foot buffer.
Sounds bad.
Because we're leaving we are allowing 10 foot. That's what we'd like to do. And if that can be considered a 10-foot buffer, then that works.
You're referring to the multi-purpose building in the upper right, upper left corner of the drawing?
Correct, yes.
Where it's really a 0 lot line against a parking lot that you own, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
so.
probably why there would be no harm in effect. But
Yeah.
you're asking for a 10-foot.
Well, yeah, we would like to reduce from the 30, if it is 30, down to 10 foot.
Okay. Very good. Are there any questions on the from the members of the committee or commission of board? I'm sorry, to the second setback request to go from 30 feet to 10 feet. Councilman Davis and
Hello.
Yes, are there any issues that you would like to raise here?
No, I've been involved and met with these folks several times, and I support this effort on their behalf.
For the record, Mr. Garrett, what is the activity that takes place in the building?
It's a residential facility for teenage kids, boys and girls. The building we did back in 18 is for the girls, and this addition is for the boys. For additional boys, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments from councilman or from members of the
Chair.
yes?
Mr. Garrett, what's your, are you the contractor then?
I am. I'm the builder. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're not the owner, you're not the property owner.
No.
Okay.
No, he was going to be with this and had a funeral to go to today.
Okay. Did you Did you have a site plan of all, these are all proposed improvements, right?
Yeah, the latest one that you have should be, at one time in one of the variance meetings, and it may have been you that asked for our vision of what we thought we were going to be doing over the next few years. And I think that site plan, because it showed, I think I have it here.
That's my question. What's here and what's not?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. One sec.
What time is she coming on?
Here it is. Okay. So the original building obviously is there. The 2019 building, which is when they opened it, on the left there, that's the girls' building, that's existing. The connector between the two is there. See where it says connect? You have that sheet?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, and then the addition is what we'd like to do. That's not there yet. The multi-purpose building in the back has not been built yet, but if you remember, we had trailer or whatever you want to call it that is leased, sitting in place of that right now until such time as we can build the building. And the fourplex that's shown on there is a future thing. So that's
Okay.
not there. So in the rear, it's just the trailer right now.
Okay, I mean, has any of this come to engineering? Has anyone been working with Kadar, our construction engineer, on any of the site plan stuff? Because
I did go through Kadar when we tapped in the sanitary sewer for the 2019 building.
okay,
And I came down and met with him with the site plan. And then, we're probably going to want to, if we can't tap into the original building's sewer coming around from behind, we'll just maybe run a new one, but.
we're gonna have to, I'm gonna show this to Kadar and
Sure.
we need to get in contact with him because the problem becomes you're building a building here, a building there, you put a little bit of parking here. Next thing you know, everybody got water in their basements because it's too much runoff. This is not how we do it. You need to do a comprehensive plan and a stormwater plan to, I know this isn't the place to discuss this, but we
No,
can't
I
just,
understand.
everybody adds all this little impervious surface here and there. Then next thing you know, if there's drainage problems and flooding. So this is the type of stuff we got to get our hands around here. So
Okay.
whatever your grand plan is for all this stuff, we're gonna need to make sure you got stormwater that jives with it. So
I got you.
Kadar, and you'll probably reach out to him.
And his iPad.
You're not gonna get a building permit for any of
Okay.
this stuff until engineering.
Mr. Shasho, you're raising a number of issues with regard to water quality, and those you'll address separately from the variance. Is that correct?
It's an FYI thing. It's not. Yeah,
Okay.
That's not gonna affect my vote, but there's some.
That doesn't affect the issue at hand.
No, it does not affect the setbacks, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here. The property is, there's a lot of strange things going. There's very tiny little slivers of property. I don't know if any of you have seen this. There's tiny little, like a 2.7 foot by 40 foot piece of property that's landlocked. It shows it right on your site plan there, and they're owned by individual owners. It's a very strange. I know it's not on you to do this, but I didn't know how aggressive you were with pursuing other property and whether you're just going to work within the limits that you have. But
Yeah, I don't know that.
Right.
The owner would, yeah. You do know those 2 40-foot lots in the rear there, we have ownership of those now.
which
The one where the future fourplex is showing, and then the exit driveway and the parking on the next one to the south. Thompson Enterprises does own both of those now. That would be where it says fourplex future and the next.
Oh, yes.
Those
What-
2 lots are owned by Thompson Enterprises.
So the drive and the lot with the fourplex are owned by Thompson Enterprise? But the
Yes.
two houses
Park-
south, parking
Yeah.
is not, is that correct? Those
No,
are
parking is on the
On your property.
parking and the exit drive are within a 40-foot lot that they just got from the,
Okay.
through the land bank. Yeah. And it's
But the
been,
two,
it's been replatted.
okay.
Yeah.
So there are
No,
two
we did.
remaining houses, is that correct?
There's 2 remaining houses there. Yes.
What was replatted? I don't see anything.
Well, this plan was done a long time ago before they had that property. This was when I was trying to show what our future plans were. He was trying to get that lot, but now he does have it. And we take care of, with our engineers and surveyors, having it replatted. So that is in their ownership now. Both those lots back there. So the heavy line doesn't depict that. Back when I drew this thing, they didn't own where the exit drive and that road parking, but now they do.
Gotcha.
And it brought to my memory too, when you were talking about Kadar, we actually brought a sewer line off of Erie Street to take care of that multi-purpose building in the back. It's already in, as is electric lines, service. We brought everything for that rear stuff in already. So Kadar knows about that sewer too back there because we had to get it inspected.
Okay, I'll talk to Kadar about it.
Yeah, and we do have, you know, engine, Lou Zarlinga, I don't know if you know him, but he's our engineer. We do full sets of plans for Mahoning County, including a site plan and everything. This was my own personal sketch that to keep things moving that I kept adding to and submitting. So we have full drawings. We don't have full drawings for the addition yet, but we've got it laid out and that's how we know the size of it. The floor plans are done.
Okay.
But if we get the variance, then we're gonna finish up the drawings and, you know, whatever we need to do.
I have no more questions on the variance.
Thank you, Mr.
Dr. May I be
Shash.
heard?
Any other board members have a question? Mr. Limbian?
Yes, thank you. Mine is partially a comment and partially a question.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the construction manager is here and providing us detailed explanations for different facets of the project, but it seems as though the reason for a zoning hearing is determine the impact on a community. And I mean, I'm happy to hear that Councilwoman Davis is in favor of this, and it sounds like a great project, but I don't know if we have any neighbors here on today, but this is really a tight block, and I guess more than needing to hear from a construction person, I would hope we would hear from the project people to know what the impact has been on the neighborhood and how they intend to impact on those houses that are very close to the project.
Is there any, we have notified the neighbors, I believe, in our normal customary way, but is there anyone here from the neighborhood? Councilman Davis, you represent the area. Can you speak to Mr. Limbian's question?
Yes, well, there have been no complaints that have come to my ear from any of the neighbors. And the one lady whose house is Mary, who lives, I want to say, where the driveway goes right around her property, and she has not had any complaints. And I've spoken to her in the past year.
And is she aware of the?
I don't know if you guys how you guys sent the notices out, but
Would have been notified, yes.
yeah. And if she'd had a problem, unless there was an illness or something, if she'd had a problem, you would know it. She's not shy.
Mr. Limbian, does that satisfy your concern?
It does. And if I'm sure, I know Councilwoman Davis is always very attuned to her ward, so that gives me some confidence. I guess just as a general principle, I would hope that if somebody wants a variance from us, that they don't send their construction guy, but they come in and talk to us about the social impact on the neighborhood. That's all. I guess that's sort of a parenthetical comment. Thank you.
Mr. Garrett, you indicated that the property owner has a funeral or another engagement. He could not make the meeting. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, because I was going to go to his office and we were going to do it together. But I contacted him this morning and that's the response I got.
Okay.
But I know he would have been here. He's very into all of this.
Are there any other comments or questions from members of the board? If not, I'd entertain a motion. We can, I believe, treat both the side and rear yard setbacks in a single motion. If
Through the chair, Robin, did we receive any written comments or anything?
From neighbors?
From anyone?
No,
No? Okay.
nothing written.
Chairman,
yes,
I'd like to move that we approve case number 2117, including both the requests for variance reductions.
so by your motion, we would be approving a side yard setback from 20 feet to 7 feet and a rear yard setback from 30 feet to 10 feet to allow the construction of this addition. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second, Marguerite.
It's been seconded by, made by Mr. Holmes, seconded by Ms. Douglas. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Garrett.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is case number 2118, located at 735 to 739 Garland Avenue in Ward 2. The applicant David Bonamaze of D&E Holdings requests an appeal to appeal a notice of violation issued on April 5th, 2021 for use not permitted, operating a dumping and recycling company, International Crushing and Recycling, on a mixed-use commercial or mixed-use community zoning district. Mr. Bonamaze in the audience?
Yes.
Does anybody else Mr. Bonamaze and anybody else wishing to testify on this
No, just
matter?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All those.
Hunter, before you start, because I got a yes from someone who's not been identified. Who's on the
Okay.
Galaxy 10?
That's me,
Shanita Jackson.
Shanita Jackson.
Okay.
And then also on Galaxy 10, I own 357 Garland. And the house is under renovation, and I'd like it to testify too. Ruben Knight.
So Shanita Jackson and Ruben Knight are on the same call?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So, I had former Councilman Gillum, and she's on the call, I believe, as well. Is there anyone else?
I'm Yvonne Irving.
Yvonne? What is your last name, Yvonne?
Irving,
Irving.
Yeah. I mean, 734 Cassius Avenue.
Okay. I can't
And
see everybody's. Yes? Is there anyone else?
Yes, Glenda House
On the house?
out at 719 Cassius.
There's someone on just says caller in use on a phone. I don't know who that is.
There's a B Reynolds?
No, Ms. Reynolds is already on here identified. I'll just see if they start to talk, Hunter, I'll just interrupt at that time and get their name. You can go ahead.
Call in user 1.
Is that me?
No,
No.
I don't know who it is.
If I've heard of nobody else wishing to testify, all those wishing to testify, please raise your right hand and do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, first, in order to present the case, is Mr. Durkin here to speak to the violation that has been cited?
Yes, through the chair. Hunter,
Mr. Durkin, can you identify yourself and your position, please?
sorry, I'm Mike Durkin. I'm the Housing Code Enforcement Demolition Superintendent and in charge of zoning also. This property located, for the record, on our applicant under property involved, it says location 735 to 739 Garland. This is 739 to 795 Garland, for the record. This property is a mixed-use community, is zoned mixed-use community. It's approximately about 47, almost 47,000 square feet. The property is being used currently as some sort of dumping and recycling company, which it is not zoned for. It would probably have to be zoned, I'm guessing, I've confirmed with Robin, industrial unlimited. However, it is not zoned for that. And the process continues. So notice of violation was issued April 5th to stop and cease, stop doing what they're doing, and they have not stopped. So we did provide, I believe, some pictures.
Before we, Mr. Rick, can you move back to the drawing, please? Now, the drawing in question shows a property, part of the former McGuffey Mall, outlined in blue. Is this the property that you're talking about, Mr.
That's correct.
Durkin? Oh, that's
Yes.
the 739 to 795.
Yes.
Is there a second property that's to the south?
I own two of them. There's two lots.
Just two lots there, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so does the blue line covers those two lots on the drawing, or is that just the drawing?
No, that's only one lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only one lot.
So the lot to the south, which has a 709 on it, that's also covered by this violation, Mr. Durkin? Is that correct?
Yes, it's not outlined.
Okay, it's not outlined. So the map, your explanation is that the map is a little tighter than the actual property in question.
Yes, that's correct.
Very good. So continue, please. These are pictures?
Yes, these are just pictures of the area itself. Now the property is surrounded by those, you see those cement barriers there. The entire property is surrounded by those cement barriers there now. As some sort of a makeshift fence or to keep people off the property. And we're requesting that this violation be upheld.
And the consequences of that would be to remove the concrete and other materials. Is that?
Yes, the property would have to be cleaned or removed of all that material that was brought in to possibly be recycled, I would imagine.
And used for a use permitted under the mixed use community classification. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
Is there any other testimony, Mr. Durkin or members of the administration?
Through the chair.
Yes, Mr.
Mike, how recent are these pictures? I don't know if you.
I believe those are, I want to say they're probably about a month old.
Okay.
We have current video of the whole thing. The pictures weren't doing us any, so we actually have, the pictures always show us that the material is there. We have video of the, the property, which we have not released yet. So we just have the, we want to make sure that the operations cease and desist right now.
So it's fair to say what we're seeing here in the pictures is still there?
Yes.
And the video is as recent as the pictures?
The video
is current,
as recent as a couple days ago.
Okay.
So we're all, the video we have, it would be too much to do on here.
Thank you.
Speak.
Ms. Postlew, any other questions?
Not for me, thanks.
Okay. Mr. Bonamez, you, as the owner of the property, can you explain what you're
What I'm gonna do,
doing or
and
proposing to do?
we're not dumping at all, okay? Let me be clear. That's recycled concrete and stuff. The reason I put the barriers, let me be clarified. The reason I put the barriers, for the last 5 or 6 years, there's been people, I've got pictures of couches, barrels, TVs. I mean, it's just, and I've been paying, and I've got receipts for the last 4 or 5 years of cleaning it up constantly. So the only way for me to go ahead and keep people out of there was to put the barriers there. What I planned to do, and this was a long time ago, is I had a deal pretty well set up with Aldi's. I met with them 8 or 9 different times. I thought I'd be able to get them in there. They pulled the plug because of the area. So
Which company,
the reason,
I'm sorry, again, which company is it you have?
Aldi's.
Aldi's.
Yes, I was meeting with Aldi's in the past, and they pulled the plug. So what I tried to do is, the reason I applied for the variance is the only thing I can do is I'll clean everything up, is to build storages. I was thinking the only thing I can do with that property is to maybe build some storages on the one lot that he just showed, fence it in, and just try to rent it out, building storages where people can store, you know, like they go to regular storages. That's the only thing I'm going to do. My plan is I'm not going to put any more money in there. I'm going to go ahead, and I have other properties. I'll move my equipment and everything out of there. If I don't get the change to build the, you know, the metal buildings or the storages, I'll just clean it up, throw a seed over there, and just let it grow. Because I don't know what else to do. Every time that I try to get people in there or do something, I run into a dead end. So that was the reason I barricaded off, because every time I've called the city and made calls, I have other people calling, it just goes on deaf ears. So I had to stop these people from going in there, and they still dump in there.
Go ahead. Yes.
Go
From
ahead.
my understanding, I remember a conversation, actually a meeting I was in about a month ago, if not sooner than that, where Della Quadri, Mike, and you can help me with this, Della Quadri was dumping some material there. And from my understanding, we contacted Della Quadri, who explained to our administration that Mr. Bonamez was paying them to dump material there.
No, he brought in grindings, asphalt grindings. Yeah, he brought in asphalt grindings. That was it. But that's all stopped. I'm just gonna really gonna pull the plug on the whole thing. If I can't change it and try to build storage buildings, which is probably the cheapest thing I can do, I'm just gonna take everything out of there, start cleaning it up, and leave it fenced in. There's just no way, because every time people dump there, the city's not gonna go ahead and clean that up. All they told me was clean it up. And I've been doing that for years. So
if I understand this, and Mr. Durkin, the citing officer, the question is the construction materials, is the concrete, et cetera, being recycled on a property, which that's an industrial use. Is that correct,
Yeah,
Mr. Durkin?
Yes, that's correct. It's an industrial use. It's not a mixed community use. It's just all there is to it. You can't do it.
well,
The barriers are unattractive, but they do keep the dumping off. But is it the request to remove that construction material, cease processing that construction material on that site as an industrial site, so and keep it clean and free of dumping? Is it?
I'll make it clear. I haven't the last time I've gone there was almost 7 months ago, is when I started. Then I contacted the EPA, and they just said I had to get a permit. I didn't know on your own property you couldn't do that. And that's fine. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to clean everything up and get it out of there. That's all it's to it. I'm just going to clean. But after I clean it up, I'm just going to leave the barriers, because I'm not going to continue paying when they dump there. Because what happens is, like the last time, Mr. Durkin sent 50 or 60 kids there to clean up, and they sent me the bill. You can't, I mean, I'm not going to pay that stuff. That's not fair. You can't do that. So if, like I say, if I I already have a company that's willing to build metal buildings there, storage. All right. He said he'd build 20,000 square feet and he's going to lease the property from me. If I can't get that changed, then that's fine. I understand. But just to let you know, there's not going to be no more dumping there. Slowly but surely, I'm going to start getting everything off there. There's not going to be any more equipment there. I'm just going to clean everything up. But I'm going to leave the barriers just in case people want to continue dumping.
Through the chair, Hunter.
Wait a minute, hold on, Mr. Durkin?
So the property, once that does get cleaned up, that would be great. We're here because of zoning. It's not zoned for that, and it has to stop. However, if Mr. Bonomus does clean the property up, the concrete barriers are not only unsightly, but if I could offer a suggestion, the city owns property in the city that we have to keep people out, and we use an actual rental a fence company for a temporary type situation, whether we rent it for the whole year, national fence rental, and then they can come before the board to put up some sort of fencing to keep somebody out. But the barriers just don't block anybody can walk in there. They can't drive in there, obviously, to do large dumping, but anybody can walk in there and still throw mattresses on his property and that type of thing. So that's just a suggestion from moving forward, but that's just my opinion.
Let me just reply to that. I did have fence up there, and I will get you pictures. They drove through the fence. We had a red pickup truck. They had a bunch of tires and a bunch of rims. They drove right through the fence. We had trail cameras up there, so we got them on trail cam. And I could provide that so you can see what I'm talking about. I mean, it's just, or else if you don't want the barriers, I could just get the barriers removed and just leave it. But it's going to be terrible because they're just going to dump there freely. I mean, the reason I got to move my equipment, they've already busted every window out of the trucks that are there. So I'm now spending $3,750 replacing windows. So I've got to get everything out of there. That's my only thing. I really, if we can get that changed, I will build metal buildings there. And he has an architect. He'll go through all the parameters of getting it approved. If not, like I say, I'll clean it up and you just tell me what you want to do. But I don't want to be responsible for cleaning up everybody's mess that keeps dumping there for the next so many years.
Through the
Thank
chair.
you. Mr. Limbian.
Thank you. I got to say I'm confused. It seems as though Mr. Bonomus is being more than a little disingenuous. First of all, I don't understand how this started without appreciating that this is not an industrial area. And we have information that he has people dumping there, and now he says he's not dumping there, but then he says the dumping will stop. I mean, what is it? And so the millings are not dumping, they're part of an industrial business?
Well, there's no grinding. There's no grinding going on. We had millings before dumped there because we were going to fill in all the potholes. That's all stopping. All right, just to let you know, I'm not dumping. I'm not doing anything there. What I'm going to do is get everything off there. All right, I'm going to clean my stuff up, get everything off there. But I just want assurance that if I have to move the barricades, that somebody's going to be responsible for all the people dumping all their trash. I mean, I've got BFI, waste
it's your
management.
property, right? It's your property. You're responsible for it.
So what do I do though, Jeff?
You can't say that the city is. You can't say that the city is falling on deaf ears. I mean, we're not the keeper of everybody's garbage. If someone dumps on your property, you've got to take steps to clean it up.
So, Mr. Bonomus?
Well, so you're telling me this, Jeff. So if somebody comes to your house and keeps dumping their trash in your front yard, you're not going to do something to stop that?
Yeah, we clean it up.
Okay.
I would sell the property and move on because it's obviously this is not.
That's what I'm probably going to do, Jeff. I think that's what I'm probably going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to clean it up and then I think I'm going to put it up for sale. That's going to be
a good
the
idea.
easiest way. Yeah, that's going to be the easiest way.
Through the chair, please. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Limbian. Are there any other questions or comments from members of first let us hear from Councilman, the Councilman, please. Mr.
Yes,
Hughes?
through the chair, Councilman Jimmy Hughes. There was early on last year, there was a sign, maybe about 5 or 6 feet by 10 feet. And it was basically saying it was a dumping site, you know, the language is on the sign. And so blaming on people's randomly coming there when you post a sign out saying that's where the direction you were going, it's kind of confusing when you constantly want to blame it on the residents or the individuals in the area. But I understand that he has some video, he says, of the dumping, but my constituents in the neighborhood also had videos of all of that coming in and very little of what he said in violation. I get calls constantly every time, early morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, there's traffic coming up, but his names is on the side. It appears to be going back to the owners and the material they put, but all this other stuff that he says that was going on, I get that that's a problem if it's happening, but I also think that when you put a sign up saying you're some type of dumping or or recycling, and it's not very clear whether you talk about giving it out or receiving it, and that's what's true. And it had a phone number, and I have pictures of the sign as well, back and forth. I just want to make that clear, but I'm sorry that he can't continue the direction he wants, but it doesn't seem like he had a direction he really wanted to go to, even in the beginning.
Well, I did. I wanted to develop it.
Mr. Barnabas?
I mean, to be honest with you, I just want to develop it. When Anthony Cafaro called me and we talked about taking it over, cleaning it up, and trying to develop it, that's where my thing was to go. But that's not the way. I mean, it's just not working out. I mean, as for the dumping, it wasn't trash. What we were going to try to do, and it was our fault, is to set up recycling concrete so we can go ahead just like City Concrete and everybody else. But it wasn't zoned like that.
I think, Mr. Barnabas, that's the issue.
Right.
An industrial use in a commercial district.
And that's our fault. And what I'm going to do, like I say, I'm just going to get it cleaned up and I'll put it up for sale. And then, just go from there. Let somebody else, develop it. I'll, like I say, I'll slowly but surely start moving the barriers out of there and try to get it sold as quick as possible. That's what I'm gonna look at doing.
Thank you, Mr. Barnabas. Are there other questions from members of the board or from Sharon Woodbury? Did you?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Woodbury. Can you identify yourself for the record?
Sharon Woodbury, Director of Economic Development for the City of Youngstown.
Go ahead.
To the chair, my concern and what Mr. Bonamace is saying, I appreciate that he intends to clean up the property. He said on a couple of occasions, slowly but surely, we need to have a time frame for when those materials are going to be removed from the property. We've had instances before when aggregate is up, it can take quite a while to deplete storage of aggregate. We should have some type of deadline for when that property can be cleared of the aggregate.
All right, I'll do that. I'll get with our counsel and I'll put together a letter through him to you on a time limit of getting rid of that.
Ms. Woodbury, for the benefit of the board, is there a time that you would feel reasonable from an economic development perspective to clear it so that the property might be marketed?
Well, I'd like to have the property cleared right away. If it's not within a time frame and the city has to do it, then we just would have to bill the property owner. The property is not going to sell or attract the interested party in its current state. That's been one of the major challenges. It's not a property that we can get any interest generated in simply because of the condition of the property.
Yeah, but it's my property. You're saying it like it's yours. I don't understand. If the city wants it, let them give me an offer.
Thank you, Mr. Barnabas. Trying to establish a reasonable deadline. Are there any other questions from the members of the board before we move to the audience?
Through the chair, I'd like to establish a deadline today, if we can. Chuck or
Ms. Osterley,
Eric,
would you have a suggestion then?
I'm asking the board for suggestions on the deadline, but I'd like for us to establish what that deadline is today, so we don't move away from this meeting and then have to come back 6 months later because we haven't gotten anywhere on this. So I'd like a deadline established today, if possible. Chuck, Mike, Eric.
Through the
Mr.
chair.
Sashaw.
Just my first question is, I'm not sure who would answer this, but is this a candidate for a spot blight acquisition? I mean, we've exercised that that option on other properties that were nearly not this bad in the past.
Through the chair, yes, it is.
That's the first question. I believe that 45 days would be more than reasonable to clean this up.
So your recommendation,
I just believe 45
from your
days.
experience, given what you know of the site, 45 days to clear up what remains of the construction material on the site, remove the heavy equipment, properly fence and barricade it would be reasonable.
I don't know about fencing it, but I think cleaning it up, I think 45.
Cleaning it up, okay, focusing on the cleanup.
I have-
The cleanup in 45 days, remove all the concrete and other building materials. That would be reasonable.
I'll be honest with you,
I think it's
there's no way I can move it that fast. All right, there's no way. I'll need at least 90 days because I've got to get that I've got properties in Canfield and Salem that I've got to move those materials to. So I've got to set up trucking and get that stuff done. So there's no way I can go ahead and do that fast. That's impossible.
Osterley, or just, yes.
Are we also talking about the concrete and blacktop that's so unsightly? That used to be the parking lot?
Yes, I'll take that out. The piles of stuff, I'll get set up to get moved out.
Well, I mean the actual parking lot.
That parking lot, the parking lot, why would I touch that? It's been there for 50 years. It's already asphalted.
So are we then talking about the piles of construction materials that
Yes.
have been brought onto the site, not the parking lot that remains from the prior use?
Yes, just
Is
the
that what you're
piles.
saying?
Yeah, just the piles of stone that are there, I'll take out.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ms. Foster.
Chuck recommended 45 days. Mr. Bonamase is asking for 90. I'd say we go 60 days and that's it.
Is that acceptable, Mr. Bonos?
It's gotta be, I can't do it that fast. They don't understand. I mean, it's Mr. Shasho, he knows what it takes to do that. There's no way in the world I could do it that quick. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. I can't get it done that fast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we end the meeting or this issue, we need to resolve whether the final date. But there are also other members of the board that may wish to speak on this matter or ask questions. If not, I believe former Councilman Gillum is here. Ms. Gillum, do you have anything you wish to add to the mix? Are there other members of the audience who have been sworn in who wish to testify on this as the board considers all the options?
Yes.
Who is speaking, please?
Reuben Knight.
Mr. Knight, can you tell us your question?
Okay. My question is, just this morning, this is part of leading into the question. This morning, 9 o'clock, they was actually dumping debris. One of his tracks was dumping in the back. He's talking about removing. How can it be removed when you keep pitting on the property?
There's no way somebody.
That's question. That's part of my question. And the other part is he says he wants to clean up, but it looked like he's not making an effort to move to clean up, but to keep harboring more stuff on the property.
There's nobody dumping on that site.
Mr. Bonamess, are you still accepting material on the property?
Nobody is dumping on that site today. Listen, from now on, you won't see a thing there. I'm moving out of there as quick as possible. Nothing's gonna come in there. You'll see nothing but getting out of there. It's just frustrating. So I'm just getting everything out of there.
What I'm seeing is that there's barriers removed by a Caterpillar where semis can come in there and pull in, and only one that got the keys to them Caterpillars or heavy equipment is your company or the company that's doing the dumping. And then they push them back at night, and then they move them. I'm the property right down from them. I see it all and I hear it all day and all night.
I know nobody's dumping there today. There's no way in the world that happened. If you do, show me a picture. I will get a hold of both of my signs and also I guarantee you there's nobody dumping.
Excuse me, through the chair, please.
Well, hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Gillum.
This is Annie Gillum. Can you hear me? I was muted before. Well, you have cameras that could show you, that. And Mr. Bonamess, the city is not going to pay for your removal of trash. And also, you don't cut the grass, and I know that you're trying to say that we don't care about the properties over here, but we're doing what we can to improve our properties. And to me, you're not helping. And I have been in situations where I've tried to help you over there as far as people on your property playing music, that sort of thing, calling the police to keep activity out. So we would just like for you to respect us in the way that we should be respected. And I know you don't think that we deserve it, but show us something, to that effect.
That's nowhere near true. There's no way. I'm not that kind of person.
Ms. Gillum has the floor, please.
We just want you to respect us, and please cut the grass. I have cut part of your grass myself where people wait on the bus. So if the city cuts it, they're going to send you the bill. They send me a bill, so they're going to send you one too. That's the way it works.
Okay.
If they move your trash, they're going to charge you for it.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
I understand.
So that's just the way it works.
Okay. Understand.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gillum. Is there anybody else
you.
who would wish to speak on this?
I am Yvonne
House?
Irving, and I wish to speak.
Mr.
Mr. Chair.
I'm on the way.
Who is speaking, please?
I am Yvonne Irving.
Yes,
Do
Ms.
I
Irving.
have your permission to speak?
Yes.
I'm here to represent 734 Cassius, which is in the back of the site. Lots of digging took place on that site. Trees are falling down in the backyards of that area. I'm not an engineer. I know there was no wind, there was no storm, nor anything that took place. So who was responsible for getting that material up? It was the homeowner. Children cannot play in their own backyards because it's a safety hazard. I look at the area. It saddens my heart. I find it appalling. It's a blight in the community.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this?
Mr. Chairman?
Ms. House?
Yes, I live at 719 Cassius. I've lived on 719 Cassius for over 40 years. As soon as this gentleman bought that property. It was terrible when the other gentleman had it. He never did anything to it. He never did it. He didn't cut the grass. He didn't do anything. He just left it, and it was an eyesore. Then when this Mr. Baltimore bought the property, he didn't do anything for years. And then when he started cutting down trees in my property in the back and burning the trees. And we had to call the fire department because the smoke was all up on Cassius. It was terrible. And then after that, when he started grinding those stones, all of the dust came up on Cassius and we were inhaling all of that dust. And then all of the noise, day before yesterday, they was down there doing something because I heard the machines. My property is right in back of it. It's a terrible eyesore. It's been there for years. I'm totally frustrated with him. He's lying about what he's doing because I see it every day. I go by there every day. I live in that area. And this man needs to be held responsible for fixing up that stuff, getting them terrible eyesore weight things, stone things from all around it. He claims he put a fence up, but the fence he put up and that sign, I saw that sign there about recycling. And I don't want there to be no place where they can store stuff. We've already got enough storage area on our side of town. It's horrible. He needs to do something and stop lying about what he's doing.
Nobody's lying.
Because we see it. Yes, you are lying. You are lying.
Excuse me.
Ms. House,
and
Ms. House, through the chair, please.
This is a hearing. Unless you're recognized by the chair, nobody's to speak, period.
Thank you, Mr. Shashow. Thank you, Ms. House. I think you've made some very important observations about potential records of open burning and other dumping on the site in the course of time. And that will be taken into consideration as the city moves forward. Are there any other comments from members of the audience? Any other comments from members of the board?
Through the chair, Hunter.
Ms. Jackson, Shanita Jackson.
Yes, yes, this is Shanita Jackson, 780 Cassius. It's been terrible with that whatever they're doing down there, that noise. I hear that noise, boom, 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 when they breaking up the stones, the dust, as what was said, and it's so unsightly. It's terrible. I'm telling you, it's terrible. When I go by there, it hurts me. I've been living here for I think now 48 years, and I can just see the deterioration of that area, you know. And if they wanted to do something, build a grocery store. That's what we need. We need a grocery store, something to improve our ability to make it, to live. That's not helping us. That's helping whoever's doing it. It's helping their pocket. You know, if he wants to do that, take him where he lives. Find some property over there. Do it over there. Do it in his backyard. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. I think it's you've also spoken, as did Ms. House, to fugitive dust, open burning, other blighting influences that apparently have had an effect on the surrounding neighborhood. Mr. Durkin, you wish to speak?
Yes, through the chair. I think we've got enough testimony. My thought process is give just a suggestion for the board till September 1st. That should be more than enough time with the summer and the good weather for hauling and trucking and cleaning up the material. They're only going to have to deal with rain. I say after that, then we proceed. We have Mr. Limbian on the call, and we'd have to do what we have to do. We have to proceed legally. I think this is enough time. We've got enough information. Mr. Bonomus has agreed to clean it up. And I think we can move forward from here.
So, Mr. Durkin, based on your professional experience and understanding of the site, you're recommending that the board consider a deadline for Mr. Bonomus to clear up the site, remove the construction materials and other debris from the site, and keep it free from that purpose until September 1. deadline
Right.
until September.
And just to be clear, Mr. Bonomus is correct on one thing, where the material that he has to clean up is what's on the surface. He is not required by our code to dig out the blacktop. If he wants to be generous for the community, great. If not, that's not a requirement for him to dig that out. It is required to keep it clean, keep the grass down below 8 inches, and keep it free of trash and debris, which he already knows that he has to do that. So.
Well, perhaps a member of the board would like to make a motion stipulating the recommendations of Mr. Durkin or amending them. Is there a motion?
Through the chair,
Mr. Limbian,
I would make a motion to stay this proceeding so that Mr. Bonamese can show good faith before considering the appeal of the citation.
so you're wishing to table this matter? Is that what you're saying?
I am suggesting that we do that, and I will put it in the form of a motion if that's the appropriate way to give Mr. Bonamese time. I don't think we can do that if we're just either approving or denying the appeal, but I'm certainly open to some other points of view.
So you would, I'm trying to understand the recommendation then. You would table this motion to be returned, or you would recommend a motion to deny the appeal? Mr. Sasho.
With all due respect, Attorney Limia, I'd like to just maybe tweak that a little bit. I don't have, I guess if we're gonna say this or defer it, I would say that we want to hear this again within, a good amount of time, within maybe next month, to see if there's any progress being made, as opposed to just staying it indefinitely until September and hope he gets it cleaned up. Honestly, I'm in favor of just denying the appeal, but I would be okay with that too. But as long as we have another meeting relatively soon to ensure that progress is being made, I don't want to.
That's cleaner, sir.
Delay tactic.
I make a motion to deny the appeal.
Been a motion to deny the appeal. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it. With that, there's been 2 fines levied. We're denying the appeal on the first 2 fines, and if the property isn't cleaned up by September 1st, then the 3rd fine of $1,000 will be at least minimum would be instituted, and then I guess criminal options could be taken, or spotlight at that point.
Is that clear to the members of the board? That the action proposed?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want me to formalize this motion here?
I believe I would like to make sure that it's formal so that we can clearly act on it.
Well, we already have a motion to deny the appeal. I guess that's
correct.
With conditions that the property be cleaned up by September 1st. Can I just add to that, Mr. Limbian?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I would move to amend that motion as I just stated.
So you're stating that we deny this appeal with the requirement that the property be cleaned up by September 1st.
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion? Or is that your second? I think that's probably your
Well, it's
second.
an amendment to the motion, I guess.
Right. Mr. Limbian, do you agree to the amendment?
Indeed, I do.
That's okay. It's been moved and by Mr. Limbian, seconded by Mr. Shashow to adopt an amended motion denying the appeal and requiring that the property be cleaned up as described by Mr. Durkin by September 1st. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Through the chair,
Ms. Posterly.
I'd like an opportunity to open up dialogue with Mr. Bonamese. He spoke about relieving himself of the property. And there's also some great development opportunity there and potential in that neighborhood. I'd
Okay.
love to see Mr. Bonamase
Yeah,
work
after
with
you
How
our
about we talk?
department.
Can we do this? Because matter of fact, I didn't know this was gonna last so long. Can I get a hold of you tomorrow?
Please, yeah.
And
I'd
then
like to work
if-
with you on.
Yeah,
some
just let's
development
work something out. I'm gonna do the best. You know what? I just don't want a hard feeling.
Yeah.
It got to be too much for me, I guess. And I thought that I could do stuff there and it just didn't work out. But I just don't want, going through with making the property look bad and people being upset. I'm just gonna do whatever I gotta do to clean it up and move on. So there's no hard
Yeah.
feelings. If
Thank
you
you.
send me, you have my email. If you can send me an
I have your
email,
information in the
send me and I'll call you
application.
tomorrow. And let's me and you try to work
That'd be
out
great.
something and we could maybe sell it to you and I'll try to clean it up. We can work together to get this thing behind us.
Sounds great.
I hate
Thank you,
you
Mr.
very
Thomas.
much. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Is there any other matters before the body? If not, a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to adjourn, but request that Ms. Posterly, Ms. Crosby, Mr. Durkin, and myself stay on the call. Anyone else?
Second.
So the motion to adjourn is separate, but your recommendation is that you and Ms. Posterly and Mr. Durkin
Yes,
together discuss this matter with Mr.
not
Bond.
this matter. It's just unrelated.
Okay. Okay. Not on this matter? Okay, very
No,
good.
not on this matter.
Okay. Well,
It doesn't have anything to do with planning commission, so, I mean, the body itself, so.
okay. Well, this meeting will be adjourned then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can somebody stop the YouTube feed?
Yep, I will get it.